Hello educators, homeschoolers, as well as youth groups out there in the Shippensburg area, as well as in Franklin County, Cumberland County, and Adams County. My name is John Miller. I'm the Executive Director here at the Shippensburg History Center, the home of the Shippensburg Historical Society. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the educational programming that we currently have to offer, as well as educational programming that is being developed. So we have a lot to offer when it comes down to youth groups, homeschools, and as well as anybody from private schools or even the school districts themselves. So let's go ahead and check out everything that we have on tap for you. So one of the programs that we're offering this year, and it was a pretty popular program last year with children, is Life on the Wilderness. This is where we kind of talk about some of the everyday things that civilians who settled in the Shippensburg area or in the Cumberland Valley would have worn, used, including what they would have ate, and things like that, from just basic clothing down to some of the supplies that they need when they go hunting. This is a really good program here that is more of a classroom style activity. However, students are able to go ahead and pick up certain things and hold them, and they'll have a better understanding of the clothing that we wear. I know I get a lot of children that come up and say, hey, there's a pirate, but they just don't understand that at the same time, this is pretty much how they would have dressed in the middle 1700s. Another important program that we have here, and this is really hands-on, and I would advise this program to be done with middle school age students rather than elementary school. And the program itself is based on the Signal Corps system of communications during the Civil War, and it's known as Flags That Talk. So students will be assigned a worksheet, as well as staff that are familiar with how the system works, and students will be able to communicate with one another using these flags that you see right here. And like I said, it's just a very interesting program. I've given this program several times, and it's funny because a lot of the adults are like, wow, I don't understand how this works, but the kids, they pick up on it so fast. So Wigwags, Flags That Talk is another popular program. Another one that we're introducing to is basically called Join the Army, and this is where students are going to be able to learn how to drill like soldiers, and they're also going to know how the loading procedures of a musket was done during the American Civil War using simulated toy rifles. And then we have a very big backyard where they can actually put those skills to use under the direction of an interpreter who would be dressed as an officer during the American Civil War. Very interactive. This program here, I would say up to about 1 hour to do, 45 minutes to 1 hour to do. Wigwags, Flags That Talk, that's a program that's going to take about an hour to do as well. But let's go ahead and check out some of the other things that we have to offer here at the Shippensburg History Center. Another popular program that we launched last year in 2021 was this hands-on history cart. Basically, we can transport this anywhere within the community. All we got to do is just put the contents of what we're going to display inside the box, and then we can unpack it for like a history's mystery program, or we can set up somewhere and actually have everything already on top for a hands-on history cart. One of the popular programs that we did with this was all of the reproduction tavern games from the 1700s to the different toys of the 17 as well as 1800s, as well as other games from the 1800s. So we can do a variation of different themes with this, but you can also do this with Civil War uniforms. You could do this with World War I or World War II uniforms. Basically, the possibilities of the cart are endless. And this is going to help us to kind of get our word out to the public as far as what we have to offer here to get people to come in through the doors, and at the same time offer a complete hands-on history opportunity for kids as well as adults. This is one of the most popular toys that many people have played with this year, or this past year, down to just simple toys such as the ring toss game of tic-tac-toe. We have a lot of like tavern games here, like Shut the Box. And these are just wonderful because they're so hands-on, and there's a lot of history that goes with them. We even have more games and stuff up here. We're going to purchase even more this year to kind of help get people thinking about history and having fun with it. And of course, each person who operates the cart, they're going to be trained as to what the history of each of the toys or games that we have, as far as how their history connects to things that we see possibly today. So all around, a great tool. This was actually copied from an ideal over at Gettysburg National Military Park when I worked there. And of course, they got the ideal from the Smithsonian Institute down in Washington, D.C. Absolutely wonderful. So the next program that we have, this takes about 45 minutes to do. This is a great program for children of elementary school age to middle school. And it's also a good program for adults as well, including senior citizens. Like I said, it takes about 45 minutes to do, but it's called Tools of the American Civil War Soldier. And this is where you kind of break down everything that either a Union or Confederate soldier would have carried through the Cumberland Valley and then Shippensburg in the year of 1863 before the Battle of Gettysburg. So everybody who attends this program will have a better understanding of rations that were issued out to the soldiers, to how they prepared and cooked the rations, what the cartridge box was used for, the differences between a mini ball and a round ball, how the cartridge box was pretty much set up from your tool pouch for your musket right here with tools in it to the 40 rounds of ammunition that are held in the tins. They'll have a better understanding of what the accoutrements were used for and how they appeared on a soldier. And then of course, you can't forget about the 19th century backpacker. And this is where we'll talk about the things that Civil War soldiers would have put inside of a knapsack. And of course, they'll get an up-close view of some of the uniforms, whether it be for like a Confederate officer or a New York State National Guardsman who still wore gray uniforms in 1863, to the Union soldier himself, whether he would have been from Shippensburg or a soldier passing through on campaign. Excellent program here, and there will be a musket demonstration at the end of the program to kind of showcase how the musket was used and how it was loaded. So another program that we have is Join the Cavalry. This kind of breaks down the Civil War soldier as far as the cavalry is concerned, from saddles to how the properly maintained horses, to the things that they would have carried on horseback, to the uniforms themselves. Obviously, Shippensburg saw a lot of cavalry activity in 1863 with the Confederate invasion, so they'll have a better understanding of how important cavalry was, as well as what the main role of cavalry itself. This program here, I would say go ahead and allow about maybe 30 minutes for if it's younger kids. Older kids, we can actually go up to about the 45-minute mark with that. And it's all around, it's a great program itself because we're using museum quality reproductions to showcase how the Civil War soldiers would have appeared here in 1863. So this here is an interesting program that's almost finished. It's in the middle of being developed. But this is called Shippensburg in a Box, and that's because everything that you see on the table required to showcase how the community of Shippensburg was built in the 1700s, to showcase houses, to even when the railroad came through in the late 1830s. Everything on the table kind of helps students to understand that. Each one of these ropes that are this color represent a road. This represents one of the creeks right behind our building. And it's real interesting because we can almost start out with, here is the tavern, Widow Piper's Tavern, built. And then as you're going into the 1780s, the Baltimore Road here was built. We can do all kinds of different mapping ideals, and this is a great hands-on activity because it actually teaches children how the communities grew over time. I'm hoping to have this program here 100% complete by the summer of this year. So obviously we have a lot of educational programming here that is hands-on. If you want your students to have more of a curriculum-based opportunity to participate in these programs here, We do have a lot of different worksheets that we can issue out, from Picture This, which deals with the African American experience in Shippensburg, down to Learning with Archives. So we have this for the children of the middle school age, and then after that we also have this portion of it, which is for like 8th grade all the way up to at least maybe 10th or 11th grade. Learning with Archives is really a great way for students to have a hands-on opportunity, because they get to interact with an object of our choice, and then after that they get to basically study it, write down after they do the observations of it, and try to guess what that object is or what the people are doing in a photograph, so on and so forth. We can do photographs, videos, up to sound recordings, maybe perhaps artwork, documents, different types of artifacts. Maybe we can break out some of our posters that we have, and they can analyze the posters or maps. And then we also have our environmental program here about pollution in the Middle Spring Creek. This is a program that I did a video on, I think last year, so you can go on to YouTube and look for that on our YouTube channel at the Shippensburg History Center. This here is a junior historian booklet that I put together. This helps to get students, youth groups, not only inside of our facility, but also it encourages them to travel around the area to, say, to Middle Spring Church, where they can see this monument dedicated to soldiers of the American Revolution. So as educators, I'm sure everybody is interested in seeing what kind of other amenities that we have. So let's go ahead and check out our classrooms next. So this classroom here actually fits up to 12 students. We have a projector as well as a screen here. We can break students up into various other groups. So if you have a group more than 12 coming up, we can definitely break the groups up and send them into another classroom and have 2 different sessions happening at the same time, providing that we have enough notice and volunteers, of course, to go ahead and meet that criteria. If you're a student group who wants to come in just to sit down and do some research, or to have a quiet time to maybe perhaps read a book, obviously we are more than happy to go ahead and have you come in. Maybe you're a part of a book club and you're looking for another place to meet. We can definitely do that and accommodate there for you. So this is one of the classrooms. This is the main resource library we have. Let's go ahead and check out the other classroom that we have. Welcome to our Colonial Room. This exhibit room here actually has 2 working stations. We can fit 10 students in this room right here, in case you would like to do a breakout session in between or after programs. So we talked a little bit about some of the programs that we currently offer. We also showcase some of the rooms where students can come in, obviously do some of these programs, especially with worksheets. Last but not least is programs that are being developed currently. We're looking at starting a living history program here at the Shippensburg History Center, to where we can do like, a taste of history, where we can go ahead and try to reproduce colonial or Civil War period recipes in our backyard, and we'll show you the backyard before we end this session here. Another program is basically it's how to go ahead and do handwriting during the 1700s. We're going to have a lot of quill pens, hopefully, that are going to be ordered, as well as the ink, so students will be able to write letters. Hopefully, maybe we can show them how to write their names in cursive, similar to what the people would have done back then. Aside from the quill pens, they did have mechanical pencils. They also had regular pencils like this going into the 1800s. So we're definitely developing a lot of hands-on programs that are interactive for your school groups or your youth groups. We'll go ahead and have programs throughout the entire year, or at least in the summertime, dedicated to getting everybody in here and getting them to see what we currently have. And what I mean by programs, I'm thinking along the lines of like the ranger style programs I used to do when I was a park ranger working for the state of Maryland, or the same style programs that they give at Gettysburg National Military Park. If you're interested in doing any of the programs, go to our website. If you go to the other tab and click on that, all the educational resources will be located there, as well as how you can apply to get your group in here. So last but not least, let's go ahead and head outside, because a lot of the games that we have, such as Civil War period baseball or cricket or croquet, all that we can do outside in the backyard. So let's go check that out real quick. A little noisy out here, but it gets the job done. So this is our backyard here. Obviously, we can go ahead and have other groups participate in different activities out here. We have our blacksmith shop in the one barn down there. So we have a lot here inside the Stewart House, as well as the Shippensburg History Center. I've been your host again, John Miller, the Executive Director. And if you have questions about anything or would like to participate, please feel free to reach out to us, shippensburghistoricalsociety.org, or check out Facebook as well as other social media avenues. Until then, thank you for tuning in.